I mean, you gotta be kidding me. Why do they do this? Why do they tease you with telling you that there's gonna be a game mode within like the next day or week or whatever? Just drop it. Just let me play it now. Or don't mention the fact that it's gonna come in at all. Because now I just want to play Rust. Already got it. That's what I'm talking about. Honestly, this thing isn't even like that great. I still feel like I do better with just a ray gun, but it's kind of fun to just chase getting a ray gun. Now, obviously, there hasn't been a video in about a month. Just please listen. I love getting stunned right when I spawn. Jesus! But for about a week or so there, I just didn't upload because I didn't upload. Don't really have a valid excuse there, just laziness, I'll be honest. And then I ended up in the hospital. So that's yeah. And you better believe I'm putting that in the title. I am not going through what I fucking went through just for me to not get a good title out of it. You're out of your mind. But the least I can do is explain what happened. But for about 2 weeks, and I'm like pretty sure I'm good now. I think. I might be. I hope. But about 3 weeks ago, my leg started to fucking like kill me, and it was right in my calf, and I'm in the gym like 4 or 5 times a week. So first thing I thought was just that it was either a cramp or something regular like that, which honestly it doesn't happen to me very often. I don't get cramps that last a while. Like I just don't. I know my limit, and I don't push myself too far over the limit to like injure myself or anything like that, because I've been doing it for a while, like 10 to 12 years a while. But it was hurting a little bit, and I didn't really think anything of it. Oh yeah, cool, this guy's got Interstellar. I'm not jealous at all. But I didn't think anything of it, and then slowly over time it started to get worse, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse for like 2 weeks straight. And I'm sitting there wondering what the fuck is going on, because it got to a point where I just straight up couldn't walk. Like I would put weight down on my leg and I thought that I was gonna fall over because it hurt that bad. It was genuinely the worst pain I've ever been in my entire life. It felt like the fucking Rock was just taking his hands and just squeezing my calf as hard as he fucking could and just not letting go. Actually just squeezing harder and harder over time. And it did start to get a little bit better one day, but then it kept getting fucking worse. And again, I'm sitting there thinking like, all it is just a muscle cramp. It's fine. And then I started thinking a little bit differently. I thought that maybe I tore something, which would have made sense, except there was no bruise or anything like that on my leg. So, I mean, I don't know. I thought there might have just been like a slight tear in my calf. Like just something small, but it just hurt like a motherfucker. So I went to the doctor, just a regular doctor, because I thought that maybe there was like a tear in my muscle, or I thought maybe it actually was just a muscle cramp. They were gonna prescribe me something to, I don't know, make it fucking go away. But I got to the doctor, and the nurse that was in there, she kept taking my heart rate like 12 times, which is not normal. I don't get nervous going to the doctor. I mean, I do now. I absolutely have like a full-blown anxiety attack when I walk in there now, but before I never really got nervous going to the doctor. But she kept putting that fucking thing on my finger to check my heart rate, and she just kept on doing it, and I was like, I don't know what she's doing. I don't know if she's just not getting an accurate reading of it or something like that, but she did it like 4 or 5 times. That was the first nurse in there. Again, this is just at the regular doctor. By the way, I'm still in a fuck ton of pain while she's doing this. So then she starts asking if I'm having trouble breathing or if I'm having any chest pains or pain in my heart or anything like that, and I'm like, no, what? I'm still sitting there thinking it's just a muscle cramp. It's fine. But she leaves, and then another nurse comes in. Same thing. She comes in, checks my heart rate like 12 times. That's an exaggeration. She checked it like 3 or 4 times. She asked the same question. Am I having trouble breathing? Am I having trouble, like, with anything? Am I having pain in my chest? Again, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? This has to do with my leg. And I didn't have any problem with how she was doing her job, or anybody was doing their job. It was just I was freaking the fuck out, obviously. So then she looks me dead in the eyes and tells me that I'm not about to like what she tells me. We're already off to a terrible start with that. She looks me dead in the eyes and tells me, you need to go to the hospital right now. About 2 seconds passes, and she asks me if I'm gonna pass out because I just got really white. No shit, I just got really fucking white. I'm nervous. She just told me I need to go to the hospital. What is wrong with me? So of course I ask her, like, why? She tells me I might have a blood clot in my fucking leg. I'm 22, and I'm not gonna sit here and act like a genius or anything like that, but normally when that happens, you normally see, like, what the fuck is going on from the outside. There's, like, swelling, there's discoloration of the, like, spot where it's at. It's, like, hot to the touch. There's things that, like, you know, all of that, none of which I had. But evidently me having an elevated heart rate and my blood pressure being fucked because of it was, well, not fucked, but just a little bit messed up, was enough for them to tell me to go to the hospital. By the way, it's like 9-10 o'clock at this point on a Saturday night. This is not how I planned on spending my Saturday night. So of course I ask her, I'm like, okay, is this like serious enough to where I need to get into an ambulance and like get the fuck over there as soon as possible? And she tells me like, no, like it's just not something you're gonna want to put off. You're gonna want to go there tonight, but no, you don't need to go in an ambulance. You can drive yourself. So of course I walk out of the doctor's and I, you know, walk to my car. My heart is pounding because I've never been to a hospital in my life. I mean, I have had like small little surgeries and stuff way the fuck back. When I was like 4 or 5 years old, I had to get like my adenoids removed. I don't even know what the those are. I was so stupid that I just laid down on the bed, and I just remember them putting something over my face like a mask or something and telling me to try and pop the balloon. I am not kidding you, that's what they told me. And I'm guessing that's just so that I was breathing in, you know, the anesthesia to knock myself out. But yeah, after about the second breath, I did knock the fuck out. But ever since then, I've just gone to regular doctors. Like, I've been sick, you know, I'll go to a doctor, whatever. But never the hospital. So I drive myself to the hospital, and I, you know, walk up to the, you know, desk or whatever. I'm like, hey, like, I don't even know how urgent I'm supposed to be making myself out to be right now, because still at the time, I didn't think that it was anything super serious, or at least I was hoping that it wasn't. So I walk up and explain to the receptionist, like, why I'm here. I showed him my paperwork or whatever, and, you know, just told me to have a seat. And I didn't have to wait that long. I also just, I mean, it's fucked up to say it, but I just hated being in there around all of these sick people. I don't like going into a doctor's office in general because of that, let alone a hospital. So I sit down, I'm sitting there freaking out. I call my parents or whatever. I sit down, I waited for like 20-25 minutes, and they called me back. And for the first like 20 seconds, I'm kind of calm. Like, for the first time in hours, I'm a little bit calm. The nurse is talking to me in a pretty regular tone. She's like, okay, just come here, have a seat right here, we'll take care of you. It's like, all right. And then like 4 or 5 doctors come rushing over to me and start hooking everything up to me. Obviously, it's just like a normal procedure, I get it. But I just don't like having people in my space in general, let alone when they're hooking up 17 different cords to my chest, shoving an IV in my arm, and then fucking hooking me up to a heart monitor behind me that I can hear going crazy. Like, 3 of them are wide-eyeing me again, asking me if I'm having trouble breathing, if I'm having chest pain or anything like that, which again, I'm not. And then they're asking me, you know, do you feel like you're gonna pass out? Are you sure you're okay? Are you sure you're just nervous because your heart rate's 180 beats per minute right now? Like, well, now I don't fucking know. You guys are freaking me the hell out. Take what the hell I said for what it is and know that I understand how the fuck I feel right now. I'm nervous as shit. So obviously they're sitting there just monitoring everything. They're just making sure everything's fine. Because the main thing is, like, you know, at this point, I'm guessing I have a fucking blood clot in my leg. Which, no, that's not good, but also it can be a hell of a lot worse if something like that is near, like, your lungs or your heart or something like that. That's when you're looking at death. But after about 10-15 minutes of them, you know, doing all that shit, like, all right, we're gonna get you a room, you're gonna get in this wheelchair, because I guess there was a risk of me passing out, even though I'm not prone to that, to be honest. I understand that I was nervous and I was, like, in shock and stuff, but I rarely feel like I'm gonna pass out. Like, genuinely feel like I'm gonna pass out. There has been a couple times where I've been sick enough to where I feel like it. And there was one time in middle school when I had the flu and I went to school like a dumbass. And I was walking down the hallway to the nurse's office, and I literally had to sit down in the middle of the hallway by myself because I literally couldn't stand up. I was going to pass out. But that was like the only time where that was like a genuine concern. And I'm sitting there wondering why the fuck I have to get into a wheelchair now. Because while yes, walking did hurt like a motherfucker, and I basically had to just walk using one leg, I could do it. It was possible. If I sit in the wheelchair, they take me back to the room or whatever, you know, hook me up again while I'm laying in bed, which at this point, I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? How am I here? Probably around like 11-ish right now by this point. Then a doctor comes in, you know, he explains what's going on, you know, that there might be this wrong with me, and they need to run these tests and all that stuff, which is, you know, that's fine. That's completely, you know, understandable. Nothing about what I'm explaining here has anything wrong with how the fucking doctors and nurses were. It's just the fact that I was freaking out. How the fuck? But I'm laying there, you know, he's asking me questions and all this stuff, and, you know, I'm just laying there. And I wasn't by myself. My dad was there. I just needed one of my parents there. Oh, yeah, I'm not playing in this. We're fucking being triple capped. No way. But I'm just laying there in a ton of pain, and, you know, I'm just waiting for them to call me back so they can run these tests. So the first test I had to go get done was a CT scan, where you lay down and they put you in a tube, and then it spins around and scans, like, your chest and everything. I'm freaking out. They also have to shoot you up with iodine before, for whatever reason. I don't know why, but they do, which felt weird. It feels like a super hot flash over your entire body that just goes from like your head all the way down to your feet while it happens. It's really weird. But then after that, they basically had to check if my leg was pregnant. They gave my leg an ultrasound. So between both those tests, it probably took about 40 minutes for me to get that done. 40, 45. And then, you know, they sent me back to the room. They're like, all right, we'll come get you and tell you what the fuck's going on with you when we get these back. So I was in there probably waiting for around 2.5 hours or so for those results to come back, so that was fun. And my phone was dead, and I didn't have a charger with me, so I'm literally just sitting there watching South Park on a fucking 10-inch TV, trying to keep myself awake conversating with my dad. And I was in there so long that the IV actually started to make my arms sore because, I mean, there's a needle in my arm for an extended period of time, and I've gotten a tattoo, obviously, for anybody that doesn't know, so I'm not, like, you know, I'm not being a bitch about this. But after about 3 hours, you know, a doctor comes back, and he's like, all right, so this is what's going on. Your CT scan came back, chest, lungs, heart, everything everything, all of that stuff looks perfect. It looks great. It's like, all right, cool. And then, you know, he follows up with, but you have a blood clot in your leg. Again, I'm not understanding how the fuck this happens, but it completely explains why I was in an insurmountable amount of pain. I don't even know if that's a word. And I Googled it after like a day or so because I was curious, and I mean, if I would have just Googled it sooner, then I would have been at the hospital way sooner than I was, because it apparently those feel like a Charlie horse or a cramp, which is exactly what it felt like. But he explains it to me, it's like apparently not that serious. I mean, it can be, but like it's probably not. From where it was and like the cause of it, and then all the other blood work and all this other shit that got done, like that was the consensus. But he does that, and then he's like, all right, and then you guys are good to go. And I was like, sweet. Except I have to get a dose of medicine before I left. And I'm thinking to myself, it's like 2:30 in the morning, you know, he comes in, tells me that, and he tells me I have to take some medicine before I go, which is fine. But I'm thinking he's just gonna walk out of the room, he's gonna go get it, he's gonna come right back. No, I was laying there for like another hour or so after that. And I get it. I understand that, you know, the reason that happened is because there's other people that were in there that were in way more serious cases than I was, that had to get taken care of like immediately. But I am taking this medicine, and then, you know, I roll out. It's like 4 in the morning at this point. Didn't get home until around 4:30, which is, I mean, honestly, that's pretty normal for a Saturday night anyway. Not normal, but it's not completely out of the normal either. But I didn't want to fucking spend it in the hospital. At least when I have nights like that, I'm, you know, out having fun. This was not fun. But before I left, he was like, all right, so you just need to get set up with a special doctor. It's called like a cardiovascular surgeon. Basically just like a specialist in this type of thing. I was like, all right, again, still in a tremendous amount of pain at this point. So I got that set up the next day. Had to wait like a week or so until I could go see him, which was yesterday. And he basically just told me like, all right, I don't really know exactly what the fuck happened. I mean, I kind of have a feeling, but as far as he knew, there wasn't any like direct cause of this, which is kind of weird. But basically now I'm stuck on medicine for 3 more months, and now I have to fucking go back and get another ultrasound of my leg to make sure the shit is gone, and then go follow up with another doctor's appointment after that, and then hopefully this shit is done and this never fucking happens again. And unfortunately, as soon as I did get that medicine, it wasn't like it worked right away. I mean, it was, but you know, this shit was fucking, it was fucked. So the pain was still there pretty badly for the next like 3 days even after that. It was just, that was horrible. That was absolutely terrible. It feels pretty good now. It's like 95% better. I just, like, if I put my leg in like a weird position, I'll feel like it tweaked a little bit, but like it's not even anything close to what it was. But yeah, obviously I couldn't make videos. I mean, I could have, but like the only thing I could focus on was the pain in my leg. I had my wisdom teeth pulled like a year and a half or 2 ago or whatever, and I did not take any like painkillers or anything like that after that surgery. I was taking a lot of Advil and ibuprofen or whatever the I was taking, but I was not taking like prescription painkillers. So like normally I have a pretty high tolerance to pain, but this was just not it. But the reason I mentioned that is because even like 2 days after I had my wisdom teeth pulled, I'm pretty sure I was making a video because that hurt, but it was like tolerable. No fucking exaggeration. One night this had me to the point where I was sitting there holding my leg on the verge of tears because I couldn't sleep and it just, the pain wouldn't go away. It was more so the fact that I was just in pain for so long and it just did not go away even for like a second, as opposed to like, well, honestly, it hurt pretty bad. But yeah, I figured I would explain that and, you know, get a, you know, sort of update everybody on, well, that was the end of 2023. That's how 2023 was closed out. And then it bled a little bit into the beginning of 2024. New Year's was fun. I had a great time then. Got lucky enough to actually be able to leave my house to go do stuff, so, even though I couldn't walk. I know I didn't talk about any, like, update or anything like that on the camos for this video, but I don't really have any update on it. I don't know what to say. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it if you guys made it all the way. Remember, drop a like and video, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.